We start with the breaking news out of the Supreme Court. The conservative majority has overturned Roe v. Wade, ending the federal protection of a woman's right to an abortion.
The ruling upholds a Mississippi law that bans abortions at 15 weeks of pregnancy.
The opinion says the Constitution does not guarantee abortion rights. It called the 1973 precedent, quote, egregiously wrong, and says it is now up to individual states to decide the legality of abortion. Now, this decision will also spark so-called trigger laws in more than a dozen states, which will also make abortion legal there. We just heard the president slamming the decision.
It was 3 justices named by one president, Donald Trump, who are the core of today's decision to upend the scales of justice and eliminate a fundamental right for women in this country. Make no mistake, this decision is a culmination of a deliberate effort over decades to upset the balance of our law.
Now let's bring in CBS News Chief Washington correspondent Major Garrett, who is live at the Supreme Court. First, I know it's a changing situation, a changing dynamic out there. What are you seeing now?
Yep. So the president in his remarks very near the end said all reaction to this Supreme Court decision, landmark as it is, should be peaceful. There should be no aggression, no intimidation, no violence of any kind. And I can tell you, I've been here all morning. This is a peaceable protest and assemblage. There are those who oppose abortion rights who are delighted, I would say elated, because they've told me so, about today's decision, and those who support abortion rights who are deeply, deeply embittered by this court. And some of the language, I must tell you, is very strident. Those who oppose abortion rights believe those who advocate for it are essentially, in their words, not mine, ruthless, cold-blooded murderers who have no care or belief or support for an unborn child. Those who support abortion rights have described the Supreme Court you see behind me as a Christian fascist theocracy. Those are the kind of words being spoken here in reaction to this. Now, one thing I also want to let you know, the crowd is growing in size. I'd say it's about 2 or 3 times larger than it was when this opinion was handed down at 10:10 Eastern this morning. But again, peaceful and subdued. There's no rancor, there is no fisticuffs, there's no pushing, there's no shoving. And probably at least one reason for that is the very, very noticeable, sizable presence of Metropolitan Police, U.S. Capitol Police, and of course, the court itself is heavily protected.
Yeah.
You can see the fences, 2 layers of bike fence and the big black fence in here and positioned here since the release of that draft majority opinion, deeply reflected in today's actual opinion from the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court that has decreed this new constitutional orientation toward abortion is closed off to the very people it's asking to agree with it. And I guarantee you, half of the people here do not agree.
It's a pretty jarring visual to see the Supreme Court behind those fences and sort of locked away in these United States. But Major, I wanted to ask you, were you able to listen to the president's speech moments ago? And what's your reaction? And was there any reaction from the crowd?
So the crowd, I don't believe, was listening to the president's remarks. There was nothing evident in reaction. I didn't see a lot of people looking into their phones, trying to catch it on any live streaming coverage. I think people who are here know what they think about this issue. Those who oppose abortion rights consider this a day of triumph, of vindication, of essentially a victory 50 years in the making from their perspective, though not all of them are old enough to have fought in the trenches on that side of the movement all that time, but are elated, genuinely elated. When this decision was handed down, some fell to their knees and wept tears of joy. Those who support abortion rights, as I said, using that rhetoric, very embittered, but they also have told me they believe that this is now a galvanizing moment politically for this issue. They told me, so many people that they have talked to who support abortion rights generally never thought this day would come. And I've talked to advocates here who've been working this issue, saying for the better part of 2 years, hey, this right is going to be taken away. This Supreme Court is moving in this direction. And many people they talked to, they told me, said, no, that's never going to happen. And now it has. And they believe fundamentally that will change this political question from what on the supporting abortion rights side was an abstraction to now a very real retrenchment in defined rights in this country. What does privacy mean and what doesn't it mean? And they believe that will change not only the political debate, but the political dynamic in the nation's capital and in every state capital across the country.